Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. We are virtual. The building is locked. It was locked 3 years ago, almost exactly to the day. The phone number works. You can contact us if you'd like to. We do the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence, the thought behind the thought. We are trying not to be disparate. We're Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you. Individual beast or collective beast. So this beast of Revelation in general, most of the characters of Revelation seem to fit into a pattern. And I'm going to try to establish that pattern for you today so that you can prepare for what's coming along down the line. So we're mostly dealing with Revelation 13 and some of the characters from there, like who is the Antichrist? Who's this first beast of Revelation 13? Is it a person or is it a system? Is it systematic? Is it systemic? A lot of S's. Is Pope Francis the Antichrist? According to Vigano, who just died recently, he thought he was the Antichrist. He's not. Is Obama the Antichrist? Nope. Trump? Nope. John Kerry? Nope. Klaus Schwab? Nope. Bill Gates? Nope. Elon Musk? I doubt it, but he's one of the players. So we have to start to study these people, but then also the system behind them, because the way the verbs or the words are used, especially Therion to describe the beast, it could be a person or it could be a system, the system of a beast. The end times beast is more of a conglomerate, a beast system, and it could be systematic chaos too. That's part of the beast system. So many books have been written over the years. Here's something from Hilton Sutton. I don't think he's with us anymore. The beast system examination of Revelation chapters 13 and 17. The world system equals the beast of Revelation. So they're trying not to pin it on the Antichrist, and I'm hoping that you'll see that from the video, that it's not about the Antichrist at first. It's really about the system that gets pulled together and who's pulling it together, whether it's Davos, Switzerland, the EU, the United Nations, BRICS nations, or possibly the Pope and his system. Whoever pulls things together, that's part of the system, but then there will be individual leaders. And it seems to match up with the philosophy of the end of days and the beast system. So we try to test out prophecy, the Bible, and news and make it make sense. So let's dig into the verses first and show you how it kind of is this and that, an individual beast and a collective beast. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw up out of the sea, and I'm arguing that's probably agitated peoples, because when you get to Revelation 17, the sea is peoples. It's described that way in 17:15. A beast coming up and having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon its horns, and I'm arguing those are big 10, or the big tech rather. Those are the biggest force today is tech, and tech will be driving the mark of the beast, and tech will be driving us to be required to take the mark or do no commerce. Only tech can pull that off, not a bunch of sappy European kings. And upon its heads, the name of evil speaking, and the beast that I saw was like unto a leopard. Now it's interesting. I'm going to show you in the next slide that there's a German Leopard tank that's being proposed to send to Ukraine to fight against Russia. Very interesting to see the Leopard tank in the news right now. And its feet were as of a bear, Russia, and its mouth was a mouth of a lion. That's the United Kingdom, isn't it? England. And the dragon, China. Now, it is also Satan. So what I'm telling you is that these are types and shadows that can repeat within prophecy. So you might see it happen a few times, and I'll show you the picture on the right in a second here. Did give it his power and his throne and great authority, and I saw one of its heads as slain to death, and its deadly wound or stroke was healed. And all the earth did wonder after the beast, and they did bow before the dragon. And the dragon is obviously Satan, who did give authority to the beast. And that could be the beast system or the beast itself. It's a Therion in the Greek, so it could be singular or plural. And they did bow before the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, and who is able to war with it? So when you see Russia and Ukraine fighting right now and leopard tanks coming in, you say, well, that's kind of war, and it is polemos in the Greek, so it is war, no doubt about it. So the main thing is on the right-hand side, the sculpture, which they created about a year ago in 2022 in January, and finally unveiled it, so to speak. They likened it to the end times beast described in Revelation 13, but then they removed it from the UN because it was just way over the top. It really kind of looked like a leopard. It seemed to have feet of a bear and a mouth of a lion, and you could say the dragon was giving it some authority. So they removed it. Now, this came from Oaxaca, Mexico, but who knows what spirit inspired them to build such a monster, and that time too. So I'm saying this is a warning. That this is a warning from God. I think he's saying, hey, wake up, guys, start reading your Bible and noticing that this matches up with Revelation chapter 13. This is from CBN News, so keep that in mind. They did take it down when they were discovered. Okay, then now here's the article that I mentioned where, according to the Wall Street Journal, Berlin won't allow exports of German tanks to Ukraine unless U.S. sends its own. So they really want to ramp this war up. They want nuclear holocausts across the world. That's what they want. And they're stupid. Whatever agenda they want. So that's not an individual pushing this right now. It's the whole stinking system. It's systemic. It's systematic. It's the whole kit and caboodle. And so this Leopard 2 is not going to help things because they will be able to kill more Russians. And when you kill more Russians, Medvedev said it over the weekend, I should have included the slide, that if you want to push us back to Russia, we'll throw nukes at you. Okay? That's just the way it's going to be. We're not going to lose this war. We're not going to lose. We will nuke when it gets that bad. Okay, so we'll see if the Abrams tanks are given to Ukraine. It takes a long time to learn how to run these things, so it wouldn't happen overnight. But it is stupid to do so because we don't need a stoke war and we don't need a nuclear holocaust. It's going to happen at some point in time, but we don't need to cause it right now, not foment it right now. So the beast is both a man, the Antichrist, and his system. And so when you see Therion in the text, think it could be this, it could be that, and also sometimes he's coming up from underneath the earth, and sometimes he's coming from the sea, and he's coming from all over the place. So who knows? The beast, in one case, the Therion is the Antichrist, but then in chapter 13, he's also the false prophet. He's called the Therion too. So um, I would argue that Davos is a collective beast. They're a multi-headed beast. And I would argue that the United Nations has another piece of sculpture where they took all the Soviet SS-20s and the United States Pershing nuclear missiles, melted them down, and turned them into a beast being slaughtered by good. Well, only God is good. So the United Nations is wrong there. And they are not slaughtering the beast. They are the beast coming at us. But just compare and contrast the beast I showed you. I'll show you. Well, there's the picture to the left of this particular dragon being slaughtered. And they're using the cross, so to speak, and interesting. It's just really, I mean, do you really want your cross being used as a killing implement? I hope not. It's not a weapon of warfare, but that's the United Nations take on it. So what I'm arguing is that this particular monster, the beast, will be kind of half green, if you know what I mean, and half porn, because the word pornes, and pornon are all throughout Revelation chapter 17. So 17:3 is, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon, and it's gyne, and so it's a woman sitting upon a scarlet colored beast. And that's a Therion, okay, full of names and 7 horns, and 7 heads rather, and 10 horns. So the main thing is she is eventually called a harlot, and then she is a porness. So I'm arguing that it's also a little bit of feminism too, in terms of where women, some women today, there are many good women. Trust me, there are many, many great women, but there are some, many in fact, right now that really don't need men anymore. And so we aren't making babies. And once the population falls below, say, 2.11 births per family, it implodes. Look at China right now. It's starting to implode. India is doing okay. They have babies. The United States has problems. Without illegal immigration, we would fall apart. Many European nations are down to 1.1 births per family. And once it starts to implode, it gets worse. So the other thing is this green angle is where you send little poor kids into the Congo to dig and mine, so to speak, the cobalt and other natural minerals, rare earth minerals, and it's just horrible right now. So what I'm arguing is that this particular beast, and also the harlot is riding the beast, is systemic throughout the whole system, but it's also systematic. there's a methodic or according to a plan. And right now, I'm arguing that all the systems are failing. So before you see the men, so to speak, you will see the systems failing. This is an article by Gatestone Institute. It's more of a commentary. Assaults on U.S. democracy, election integrity, and the Constitution. Well, it's more than that, guys. It's weather assaults. It's family assaults. It's assaults every which direction right now. Okay. So once again, I'm arguing that it is systemic and also systematic. Okay. So systemic and systematic share the same root word, system, and both are adjectives but are not interchangeable. Well, in the case right now, they aren't interchangeable, but they're both applying to what's occurring right now. So it affects the entire system. And I argue that this is the biblical plan. So they're following a plan. And you could argue all systems go. Really, it's all systems failing right now. That's what's going on right now. Everything seems to be failing worldwide. Now, will it fail quickly or slowly? This could take another 10, 20 years. This could take 10, 20 months. I don't know. Now we'll move forward and look at another system, and that's the harlot. And I'm arguing that when you're talking about the Antichrist, it's not only the person, but also his Antichrist Therion system. When you talk about the false prophet, it's the false prophet himself, but also he has a system behind him. I'm arguing with the harlot herself that she is a religious system. So it is a system. It's not an individual. I don't think you can look at any one woman and say, Madonna or Hillary Clinton are the harlot. Okay, so and it's not just the Pope in the case of the picture up here. Those are other people that are working with him. The odd thing is, I'm blanking on his name right now, on the left-hand side, far left-hand side of the picture, you will see a young priest that put this meeting together and then died on a motorcycle right after that. I should have remembered his name, but it doesn't matter now. So the main thing is, you'll see that in this particular system that there is no blushing, there is no shame for a whore and her hard forehead. So keep that in mind. That's Jeremiah 3:3. When you see the zona, the harlot, I'll use those words frequently, the pornes or zona in the Hebrew, that you will notice that she cannot blush. She cannot be ashamed. And I can speak personally of that. When my wife left me, there was no possible shame, none whatsoever. Okay, and then moving forward, the harlot seems to be a system, not just Paula Jones, or Paula White, rather. sorry, Paula Jones. So Paula White, when you see her in that low dress there, showing a ton of skin, and it's a red dress, you think, oh, she's got to be a Zona. Well, the problem is it seems to be a system. And so I think what you could argue is that it's not one woman per se. It's not Katy Perry. It's not Madonna. It's not Hillary Clinton. It's not Paula White or any of the other women pictured here. It seems to be a system. And also, there will be a burning of that particular system in the end. That's the end of Revelation chapter 17. So I'm likening it to this verse from Leviticus 21. A Cohen is not to marry a woman who is a prostitute. Hebrew word zona, once again, you can see in the Greek, there's porneosai, who has been profaned or who has been divorced because he is holy for his God. Rather, you are to set him apart as holy because he offers the bread of your God. He is to be holy for you because I, Adonai, who makes you holy, am holy. The daughter of a Cohen who profanes herself by prostitution, that's Zona again, profanes her father, she is to be put to death by fire. Okay, and that's what happens in Revelation chapter 17. So I'm arguing that it's a system. I don't think there will be one individual woman burned for being the harlot, so to speak. So there will be the Antichrist and the false prophet, but there will be no woman that is ascribed specific sin. And I would argue it all goes back to Adam. Adam knew what he was doing when he sinned. Eve was deceived, no doubt about it. Adam knew. So I wouldn't blame any specific woman, but that system will be burnt at some point in time. I don't know what that'll look like, but it's interesting. And then I wanted to just point this out, that the pornes word, or the porneus, or the pornon, it pops up in Deuteronomy 23:18, and I just want to read it to you. God does burn the harlots, and especially the daughter of a Cohen. So keep that in mind again. You shall not bring the hire of a harlot, nor the price of a dog. So when it says dog, and then the Hebrew, that would be Caleb. Yeah, Caleb. Dog. And a dog is a male prostitute. So you've got the female harlot, the porneus, or pornus, and the price of the dog into the house of the Lord your God for any vow, for an abomination to the Lord your God, are even both. So in the case in the Greek or in the Hebrew, I wanted to show you pornus on the left-hand side. You can see I put it in pink there. And then on the right-hand side, the wages of a harlot, there it is, zona. It's to the far left, upper left in the Hebrew. And so what I want you to see is the connection between both of them, and that God will not allow that to occur. And it's an abomination. It's not the right abomination. I know you're wondering, is that the same word used in Daniel 9:27? Nope, it's not, but it was close, you know. But that's why I left the yellow in there, just so you'd see it. So the main thing is God will not allow that to occur. And I'm arguing that's the system, okay? It's never ascribed to an individual woman in this case. It's always just to this particular group of women in this particular case. So it's going to be a group. I'm saying that there will be individual men and systems, and these men are usually linked together. You can see on the lower left-hand side here, Tony Blair first called for a digital infrastructure to monitor who is jabbed and who is not, for the jabs that will come down the line at Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum. So basically, he wants an infrastructure. He wants a software system set up to be able to track those that are jabbed and unjabbed. And look at who Tony Blair's best friend is. That's Jimmy Savile, and he was a porn person. One of the worst ever, one of the worst actors out there. He's dead now, but that's Tony Blair, and that's his buddy, and a disgusting man. So what I'm getting at is that these people are all part of a system. I'm not arguing that Tony Blair is the Antichrist, but I'm arguing that he's part of the system. So once again, on the right-hand side, you see it again from Disclosed TV, digital infrastructure to monitor who is jabbed and who is not. So that's what they're going to be proposing. That is the mark of the beast. So there you go. And who will build it? I'm saying that the mark of the beast will require a system to be built, but that one man will design it. And I'm arguing that that is that guy right there. And so he's got it down. It's just a matter of making it work and testing it out. He's about 6 months away from that. Only one man has the ability to create the mark of the beast, and you know who he is. You know. Okay. Then only one man is seemingly conducting business with the whole world, and it seems to be because he's a brilliant billionaire. Now, the funny thing is, remember Nikolai Carpathia from the Left Behind series from the 80s or the 70s or whatever? And so there's a Serbian leader that kind of reminds me of him right now. And so, you know, there are many candidates for the Antichrist. Only one of them is conducting business with the World Economic Forum players in Davos last week. And so one of my buddies said, well, is the Antichrist at Davos last week? And I said, I don't know. So I did a quick search, and yes, potentially the Antichrist was there last week. So it's interesting to watch the Serbian president work together with him, and he's basically he's an ally of Russia, but he's also working with Jared, which is just interesting. So what I'm arguing all the way through as we go through this whole video is that you will see that the beast will be part of a system, but also an individual that is burned at some point in time. The false prophet will be part of a false prophet system. He will start things out and then hand it off to the Antichrist. One system is given off to the other. But there will also be, possibly Pope Francis is the false prophet, and he would be burned also if he does intend to follow through with this. Gog is buried in Israel. That could be Barack Obama. That's what the little 15-year-old kid said 7 years ago, Natan from Israel. And so he is also earthborn. He's not burned. He's buried. So there is a difference between him and the false prophet or the beast. The harlot, I'm saying that that's a corrupted religious system. I'm saying it's not an individual. Sorry. There will be an individual king angel of the abyss at some point in time, and that will be an individual. There will be more of a system of these locusts that come out. There will be others. So let's run through a few more here. So I mentioned Gog is the man, but the 70 nations are the system, so to speak. And so that would be Magog and those 70 nations. The harlot, as I mentioned, the mark of the beast, will be developed by a man, but implemented by the system. The two witnesses will be men, but the 144,000 will be more like a system of men. And so I don't see anything like a unique woman that is ascribed the sins, but I do see it in the men consistently through the Bible. So keep that in mind, other than maybe Jezebel and Athaliah. But generally, it's going to be men that receive the brunt of this in the end. So where are we right now? We're in the birth pangs. We're probably in seal 3. We're seeing really strong signs of that. Seal 4 would come at some point in time. Death seems to be on the table right now. Then tribulation at some point in time. Great tribulation after that. I'm arguing that you have to watch first for the systems to be set up, then the individuals to come from the systems. That seems to be the plan as we move forward. Keep your garments clean. Keep yourself clean. It's going to be horrific. And so what you really want to do is be prepared. And that means stop sinning and start repenting and bless God. Thank you for your time. Good day.